Hey guys, welcome to this week's second of two video lectures. Today, our second video lecture is going to be about weathering, erosion, and deposition, which we have talked about a little bit in class already, but we will now go into a little bit more detail. So let's get started. All right, so weathering, erosion, and deposition. So we've gone over weathering and erosion, not so much deposition, a little bit, but not a lot. But let's start with weathering. So weathering is when rocks are broken down by mechanical and chemical forces over time. Mechanical forces are forces that physically break down rocks, so things like wind, water, plants, their root systems can put pressure on rocks and force them to break, and changes in temperature can also do this as well. Chemical forces are another way rocks can be weathered down. So whether it be by acids or oxidation. So acids, rain can become slightly acidic. So over time, rocks can be eaten away by rain. Same thing with oxidation. Oxidation is basically just rusting. So if rocks are heavily composed of metals, they can oxidize over time and be weathered away. All right, next we have erosion, which is just the removal of weathered materials. So there are four main ways materials from weathering can be removed. The first one is water, second is ice, third is gravity, and four is wind. So circling back to one, water. So when it rains, it can wash away sediments of rock that were broken down and bring them elsewhere. Second, we have ice, specifically glaciers. So when glaciers form and melt and then reform again, it can move rocks with it when we're going through that series of melting and unmelting. And evidence of this can be seen out west. You'll have these plains that just have giant boulders in the middle of nowhere. And that's a product of glaciers just moving large rocks around. Third, we have gravity. So obviously, when rock weathers away and it becomes unstable, gravity can bring that rock down towards the earth in the form of rock slides. And four, we have wind. So in deserts, you see dunes a lot. Near the beaches, especially in Cape Cod, we see dunes a lot. And we've talked about this in class. We even did a lab where we, took a straw and use that to blow on a sand pile, and we could mimic that effect of dunes being created in that lab. All right, last but not least, we have deposition. So when water and wind drop sediments from one area to another, it builds up new landforms and land masses. And we've talked a little bit about this in class, but deltas, floodplains, and dunes are all examples of deposition. Through the forces of weathering and erosion, that material is moved, deposited elsewhere, and then we have new landforms being built from that. All right, so in the next few slides, I am going to, give you guys some scenarios, and you guys are going to have to determine whether those scenarios are an example of weathering, erosion, or deposition. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show you guys four examples, and you are going to have to determine whether it's an example of weathering, erosion, or deposition. This will be turned into an Edpuzzle, so you guys, before moving on to the next example, you guys will just be asked to, answer the question. So let's get started. So example one, ice wedging into a rock, breaking and cracking the rocks and soil. Is that an example of weathering, erosion, or deposition? Example two, the wind blows sand to form a sand dune. Is this an example of weathering, erosion, or deposition? Example three, unique rock shapes that form when wind or water cause various particles to hit the rock, which creates a unique rock shape over time. Is this an example of weathering, erosion, or deposition? And finally, waves drop sand on the beach. Is this an example of weathering, erosion, or deposition? All right, so hopefully going more in depth on those topics can give you a better understanding of the content overall. As always, if you guys have any further questions, please let me know. but this concludes our video lectures for the week.